It has been meditated upon, argued and fought over for thousands of years. Hinduism is the world's oldest faith, and it brings together within it everything from the most soulful contemplation to the most boisterous rituals. Just under 80% of Indians define themselves as Hindus. India has been a majority Hindu country and the world's most diverse and plural nation for a very long time. But what does Hinduism really mean today? Can it address our deepest anxieties and our most pressing questions? Does it divide or does it unite? I will ask all those questions to some of the finest minds in the world in this very special series called Being Hindu. So on my show today, I am delighted to have Swami Samarpananda Maharaj of the Ramakrishna Mission. He's a best-selling author and a monk for 36 years. I'm delighted to welcome him on the show to talk about what it means to be Hindu. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for being on the show. But I wanted to begin by asking you, Maharaj, in the 21st century, one of the biggest questions that Hinduism faces is, what does it really mean to be Hindu in the 21st century? Why should we be Hindu at all? What is the need to be Hindu?
Here I must tell you, any religion passes through three stages. First one is the ritual mode. The second is recital mode, and third is realization mode. Ritual mode and recital mode, like when you do certain things, you perform certain rituals, all these things make you religious. These things are done in anticipation to something. You feel that if you do not pray to God, if you do not make offerings, things will go wrong with you. Or you feel if you offer certain things, you will get something in return. No religion has anything to do with such things, excepting partly for Judaism. Judaism runs on covenant. Covenant means treaty with God. And in Judaism, it's like God has made treaty with the Jewish people, where Jews are supposed to do certain things. In lieu of that, God will do them some favor. In other religions, it's not like that. But somehow that idea persists. If I offer sweets worth 10 rupees, I'll get a job. At times I wonder, is God really that foolish a person that you offer sweets worth 10 rupees and he will get you a job? He must be a poor businessman. Every religion has four aspects. First is its spiritual core. Second is its mythological body. Third is its rituals. And fourth is social conduct. Every religion has to have these four. In Hinduism, philosophy comes from the Vedas, Upanishads and Gita. The mythologies mostly come from Itihas Puran tradition, which are Valmiki Ramayana, Vyasa's Mahabharata and Purana. Rituals come mostly from the Purana and Tantra. And code of conduct comes from series of law books beginning with Manusmriti. Hindus know that the three aspects of mythology, rituals and social conduct, they are non-eternal, they change with time. Philosophical truths will never change. So when you are talking about Hinduism in the 21st or 26th century, the gurus will change. The teachings of the gurus will change. The rituals will change. Manusmriti is already passé. Constitution of India has taken over. There will be more corrections. All these things will go away. But the fundamental truth as given by the Upanishads, that you are one with the divine, it cannot go away. Or when say Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, everything is Brahman. This is about inclusiveness, where you say that be it Muslim, be it Christian, be it Jews, whatever it is, be it snake, be it scorpion, it is manifestation of God, nothing can be left out. This is a truth. You may not go on accepting that truth, that does not matter, but that will be at your own peril. Hinduism is the religion of inclusiveness that includes everything.
But if it is so inclusive, Maharaj, why is it that even today in the 21st century, Hinduism faces problems with caste?
Perfect.
There are all these battles, all these arguments.
You
mentioned the Manusmriti.
Yes.
Now the Manusmriti, many people argue, is not even a religious text, but it's still being mentioned in the context of caste. Where do all these battles come from? Why is Hinduism so beleaguered?
Hinduism has a very serious problem. Hinduism is both a religion, it is also a society. Hinduism is a society also and a religion too.
But surely all faiths are
No,
that,
they
right?
are not.
Then
Christianity is not a society.
What is the difference there?
There is a fundamental difference. For example, take the case of marriage. Marriage was essentially a religious ceremony,
Yes.
which has slowly degenerated into a social practice.
Right.
Then there was sacred thread.
Right.
Sacred thread is basically a social practice
Which became religious.
which became religious. Social
Right.
thread meant once you put the social thread, a boy is not entitled to go for Vedic study. Now today it has become a religious thing. This thing does not happen in other religions. Social things do not enter into religion. Religious things do not enter into the social mode. Now caste is a wonderful thing. Caste has nothing to do with religion. Absolutely nothing to do. The little that we read in Purush Sukta, where it says that a Brahmin came out from the mouth, etc., etc. You are differentiating God's mouth and feet. Of course, these are much more serious things. We cannot discuss that in such a short thing. This much I can tell you. Caste was basically based on trade guilds. And of the 1,000 trade guilds, they were classified into 4. Here you can see that thousands and thousands of trade guilds, they are all being classified into 4. That means inclusiveness is entering. It's not divisive thing.
But when did it become divisive then? Because at one point clearly it became divisive.
Because since the problem with Hinduism is, it is not an organized religion. In organized religion you have one God, one idea, one practice to follow. Hinduism doesn't care about what practices you do, which God you worship, till you say that you are divine. Hinduism has only one character. Till you say man is divine, everything else is acceptable. You want caste, keep caste. You want to get rid of caste, get rid of caste. You want to keep Purana, keep. You don't want to keep Purana, get rid of it. You want to worship tree, worship. You want to worship snake, you worship. You want to worship God with form, worship. You don't want to worship, don't worship. Till condition is you agree that man is divine. That is the only taste of being religion. Applied in society, it doesn't matter. Applied in religion, it doesn't matter. Applied in science, it does not matter. Hindu sages are not the least concerned. Even Sri Ramakrishna says, Mari bolchi, Ishwar boi kichu janina. I swear, I know nothing other than God. There is nothing other than God. Sri Ramakrishna repeatedly says, God alone is true, everything else is untrue. Till you say that man is divine, Hinduism has no issues with anything. You want to have one wife? Have. You want to have polygamy? Have. You want to have polyandry? Have. As we find in the case of Draupadi. We find Dasrath had 3 wives, we find Draupadi had 5 husbands. Hinduism has no issues till you say the goal of life is God realization. Till you say that man is divine. Hinduism has absolutely no issues, unlike any other religion.
Some people argue that Vedanta is one of the many philosophies of Hinduism, that Hinduism itself has no one unified philosophy, and you cannot actually say that this is Hinduism, and there are multiple voices, multiple arguments. So why define everything only through the lenses of the Vedanta? What is your response to that argument?
You know, Hindol, the problem stems from the simple fact that people do not read scriptures.
That's right.
There are very well defined parameters for saying what is Hinduism and what is not Hinduism.
Right.
There are 6 systems of major Hindu philosophy.
That's right.
First is known as Sankhya,
Yes.
second is Yoga,
Yeah.
third is Nyaya, fourth is Vaisheshika, fifth is Karmakanda or Purva Mimamsa, and sixth is Vedanta.
Right.
In different period of time, these 6 philosophies held sway over Hindu mind.
That's right.
And all these 6 philosophies were founded by great minds.
Right.
And then we had Valmiki coming up with his Ramayana,
Yes.
and Vyas coming up with his Mahabharata and say Purana. Now when you mix them up, naturally the question comes, what is right and what is wrong? So the philosophers set 2 parameters for it very clearly. First parameter was known as Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. Truth is that which the Vedas say. It should be logical and I must experience that. Fine. Now supposing I say that I am God. Vedanta will say perfect, it's your realization. And Shruti, does Shruti say that? Yes, Shruti says that God incarnates. Then Yukti, logic. Then they will say, but your behavior doesn't fall in that pattern. Logically it doesn't stand, so you cannot be that. Because in logically, for example, Sri Ramakrishna says, how do you know man of God? He says, first thing is, he should not be stuck to woman and gold. Any monk, irrespective of who he is, if he is surrounded by females and if he is surrounded by gold, he is not to be trusted. It's a fundamental thing. What happened with Shankaracharya, who really established Vedanta, was he took up all these scriptures and showed that Vedanta alone fits the bill. That's number one. Number two, he said that every other philosophy is true in relative context. Now, when somebody says that, say for example, Bhagavad is the ultimate truth, but read Bhagavad, it says Vedas are the ultimate truth, and say that Veda's essence is Upanishads. So now you have to, then in that case you have to explain Upanishads, and there are very clear methods of defining the Upanishads. First thing, when you define, there should not be inherent contradictions. One of the conditions I am telling. When you see it in this perspective, for example, somebody says Tulsidasa's Ramcharitmanas is the ultimate sacred Granth, or we say Ramakrishna Kathamrita is the ultimate. But what does Sri Ramakrishna say, or what Tulsidas says? They place ultimate premium with the Vedas. Because the ultimate sacred book of the Hindus, whether or not they read, are the Vedas. And everything that you find in the Hindu society, Hindu religion, has flowed out strictly from the Vedas. And the essence...
When you say Vedas, you of course also mean the Upanishads. And
obviously, the philosophical essence of the Vedas lie in Upanishads.
That's right.
So when you define Hinduism, you will have to go back to Upanishads.
The Vedic text, so to speak.
Like Vedas mostly have 2 parts. One is the ritualistic part, which was taken up by Karmakanda, Purva Mimamsa, and the second is Upanishad part.
That's right.
So basically, a Hindu takes both the parts.
That's right.
So when you, for example, in marriages, you will see that log aag ke saath fere lete hain. It is coming strictly from the Vedas. When they are moving around that, when your member of the family dies, you put him on sacred fire. It is from the Upanishads. Agne naye supatharaya sman. O Agni, carry this soul to the heaven. It's not just burning process. Vedic mantras are recited.
So you're essentially saying it's a mistake to say that there is no such thing as, like, because the argument
There is no such thing as?
There are many people who say there is no such thing as Hinduism itself.
Because they haven't studied, they don't know.
Right. So you are saying that actually the answers are very clear. There is...
I'll tell you one very interesting thing.
Yeah.
It is easier to understand theory of relativity and quantum physics than it is to understand Vedanta.
Fair enough.
Worse, unlike physics, to understand Vedanta, you have to have a very pure life. Unless you are established in purity. In Kathopanishad there is a slok, na virato duscharitan, na shanto, na samayita, na shant manaso vapi, pragyanen enam apnuyat. You can know Vedantic truths only through pragya.
And what is pragya?
And what is pragya? It says, how does it come? You have to move away from bad deeds. You shouldn't be doing anything bad. And you should not be chanchal. Your limbs and your senses should be under
this sense of
control,
stillness.
And your mind should be completely still. And the last thing is na ashant manas. You have finally acquired all the conditions. You should not even have this feeling, when will I have the realization? When will I realize God? Even if this thought persists, because in Vedanta, cause and effect are same.
So you're essentially saying even the desire for nirvana, moksha itself is a barrier.
Impediment, yeah, it is.
One must acquire freedom without actively desiring freedom.
In the beginning you can say, I am taking up this path. But once you have proceeded, this has to go away. If it has not gone away, then you will get stuck up there. You will get everything else, but you will not get that. Because there is no getting, you are that.
Absolutely.
The very desire that I want to get it is a barrier, because mind is playing there.
Absolutely.
Knowing that truth means dropping the mind. The very thought that I need to know, mind has come into play. The moment mind has come into play, it's destroyed. See, when you are reading quantum physics, your personality, your character does not matter.
Yes.
Not in Vedanta. Without having that character, without having that personality, you forget about realizing. You can't even understand Vedanta.
Tell me, Swamiji, the other thing that I wanted to...
The Hinduism that you are seeing today, the popular Hinduism that is being preached by millions of gurus, at best you can say it is 7th, 8th faded carbon copy of the original Hindus. In earlier times when we were young, we used to have carbon copies. One was okay, second somehow, third was, not acceptable. You can say 7th, 8th. What you are getting is absolutely faded. You can't even recognize the letters.
Why is Hindu society, so taken up by the 7th or 8th carbon copies of the reality? What is the problem?
The problem lies in, we have to move away from spirituality. You see, the problem lies somewhere with the elders of our society in the past.
Okay.
The responsibility of learning was with the Brahmins, who did not disseminate it to the lower castes. And with time, Indian masses, they were charmed by words, not by ideas. And see, isn't it unfortunate that India had no sense of history, no sense of geography, and we talk about Aryabhatta, Bhaskar and Varamir and Zero and this and that, and yet a common man knew nothing about mathematics, nothing about medical sciences, and things in Aryaveda, all this Churan and all that, without any very clear-cut ideas. Sushruta was there, Charak was there. So what happens? Culture of a society is never measured by the greats that it produces. It's by the commonest of the common.
So you're essentially saying what happened over time with Hindu society is that there was a whole ignorant masses, but at the top there were geniuses. But that
one or two.
But that was not filtering through.
It was not filtering through. It was not filtering. This is where the Western society succeeded.
So you're saying one of the things that we or the Hindus failed to do, which is to percolate all that knowledge right down to the commonest of the common people, that was done better in Europe.
Always.
Why?
You see,
and how?
Well, society, that society is like that. It loved the culture of knowledge. You see, mind can best be compared to a block of gold. This is one example I often use. You make a little dent, you give a hammer blow, there is some space. and you carry something in it, say water. There is some water and you are happy with it. But gold is malleable. If you go on striking it and striking it, its volume goes on increasing. Theoretically speaking, one block of gold, it can cover the entire universe, theoretically speaking. Ideas are like those blows. The more ideas hit you, the volume increases. And more the volume increases, its capacity increases. The problem with India has been, it gives you one or two ideas and lots of words. Mind doesn't require words. Mind requires ideas. The more ideas you get, your volume increases, your capacity increases. Europe mastered it. We failed in mastering it. See, in the new book, Carving a Sky, that has come, I mentioned it here. We have lakhs of doctors, lakhs of engineers. Why is it that not a single product from India is a worldwide known thing? A few days ago, I was talking to one of my friends in police. Said that, look, you go for training to America and England. Do you really think that those police officers are superior to you? He said, no. Then why? Because you see, in India, we are actually worshippers of words. We are not yet worshippers of ideas. And we pick up some words. We don't even try to get what those ideas are.
We get fixated on the words.
We get fixated on words.
Can I give you an example which often occurs to me, and I want your opinion on this? Take the Gaitri mantra. The Gaitri mantra is repeated by millions of Hindus around the world every day. Millions, right? It occurs to me that perhaps many of the people who are sort of repeating the Gaitri mantra every day don't really understand what the Gaitri mantra is really asking for. The idea that it is asking for illumination seems to pass them by.
I told you, when you go on reciting Om Bhur Bhuvaswa Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Jena Prachodayat Om, when do you recite? Usually after bath. It's a ritual. And somebody tells you recite it 1,000 times daily and things will get okay. Now you are into recital mode. Realization mode means you want to know what it means, what it stands for.
Yes.
Gayatri Mantra stands for three things. First is the crudest, which says Bhargo means grains. It is prayer to Savita that may I have lots of grains, worldly prosperity.
Bountiful, yeah.
The second is little higher, where it's prayer to Sun that the sin that has accrued to me since yesterday may it be cleansed. And the last one is, O God, the creator of all, enlighten my mind so that I can reach you. Sri Ramakrishna says, Sandhya, which is a ritual, it merges in Gayatri. Gayatri merges in Pranav.
Yes.
And Pranav ko bhed kar, after piercing that Pranav, yogi goes face to face with God. When you are focusing on the meaning of Gayatri, and you are so focused that Gayatri mantra literally vanishes. I can assure you it literally vanishes. And then only Om remains. You can only hear the sound of Om. It literally happens. It has been, see, like Al-Ghazali was there, Muslim philosopher. He had done a lot of research and said that a time comes in meditation when you hear a deep gong-like sound. We call that Nadadhvani Pranav. Goal of every yogi is to pierce that. Swami Vivekananda says that when a yogi meditates, the last link he has with the universe is this Om sound, which is like a deep gong sound. It's so it sounds like Om. You can call it some other name. And when his mind merges in that ultimate samadhi, and from there if he ever comes back, first thing he experiences Om. And Gayatri leads to Om. Now Gayatri is not the only way to lead to Om. In other religions there are different processes. For the Hindus, surest method is Gayatri. Now if people think that by doing the ritual of Gayatri mantra 12 times a day, or doing it for some as a penance 1,000 times a day or 1 lakh, it will purify them. It's good. It's better than doing nothing.
Fair enough. I want to end this interview by talking to you a little bit about science, right? And about Hinduism's connections, understandings and realizations with the latest discoveries, or what today the latest discoveries of physics are teaching us. Research on consciousness, for instance, ideas of quantum physics. Why or how is Hinduism related today to what scientists are discovering about the human mind, about the human consciousness?
If you are talking about theory of everything, as I told you earlier,
Yes.
I hear that scientists have succeeded in grand unified theory.
Yes.
In which
Not yet. I mean,
not
it's
yet,
but trying.
gravitation
Yes.
is yet left out.
Yeah.
So there are 4 forces:
Yes.
the gravitational force,
Yeah.
electromotive force, strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear force. Radioactivity, proton, electrons movement, and gravity.
That's right.
But what has these things to do with religion? If there is one force, or if there are 10 forces, how does it matter with me? For me, the truth is I am. And for me, the truth is the universe is. And for me, the truth is how I take in the universe. I take in the universe through my 5 senses. My brain processes them. Vedanta begins from here. Yoga begins from here. Entire Hindu religion begins from
But
here.
is that why Hinduism has never had any problem with any scientific discovery?
It can never have.
It didn't have a problem with the theory of
will
evolution, nothing.
It will never
Gravity,
have.
nothing.
Because Aryabhatta, Bhaskara, Varahamir, they were all great sages. Kanad, who gave the Vaisheshika theory, he is known as atomist.
That's right.
He came up with the atomic theory of creation.
That's right.
Any Hindu who has issues with inclusiveness, any Hindu who has issues with science, and a Hindu who does not want to accept others in any field is not a Hindu.
Fair enough. My last question to you, there's been a lot of debate for many, many years in India whether the country, the civilization that we live in is inherently a Hindu civilization or not.
Indian civilization.
Yes. Is it essentially a Hindu civilization or not?
You see,
There has been a lot of debate about that. What is your opinion on that?
history is of the victorious.
Right.
History is always of the victorious. And people who rule way back in early 70s, late 60s,
Yeah.
we used to say Chacha Nehru, he is everything.
Yes.
And then came Indira Gandhi is everything. And then Rajiv Gandhi is everything. Now other parties in power, books are being written, and some books say that whatever is mess is because of this politician. Whatever is mess is because of this politician. And now we have modern historians who are not very happy with the present rulers. They are already telling this. See, again we are going by words. What do you feel?
I feel culturally, I understand in politically we are and we always ought to be a secular nation, and inclusiveness is an integral part of our civilization. But culturally, because we have such a long tradition and history,
Tell me, Hindol.
Hindu ideas are very deep in our soil.
I have a very, very simple question.
Yes.
Today, more than 80% of people are Hindus. in this
Nominally at
country.
least, yes.
80%.
Yes.
And if 80% people are practicing something and you say this is Hindu superiority, aren't you being wrong somewhere? 8 out of 10 people practice something and you say ki it's, I mean, I really find it weird. In a co-educational school,
Right.
you have 8 out of 10 student boys,
Yes.
and 2 out of, you will say, see, everyone in boy, only pants, no skirts. Do you want those 8 boys to put on skirts instead of pants?
That's
Do
a
you
very
want
that's a very
80% of the Hindus to give up their ways and do what? Do you mean to say that being secular means stop going to the temples and start visiting bars? Does it mean, see, I can read Marx, perfect. I can read Darwin, perfect. As I told you, you say that religion is a fraud, perfect. It is a fraud. And Ramakrishna was a fraud. Buddha was a fraud. Jesus was a fraud. Everyone was a fraud. For last 10,000 all over the world, fraud is being perpetuated. Isn't it a mega fraud? And there is something like, say, political party, it comes up today and makes fool out of us, and it is born today, in 10 years it is gone. Would you like to be cheated by small time pickpocket, or would you prefer to be pickpocketed by class, a master pickpocket? If I am to be cheated, may I be cheated by a mega fraud, then by these small time frauds who come up with theories like Marxism and cannot continue for 100 years.
That's very well put.
If I have to die,
Yes.
I would have an honorable death.
Yes.
I should not have an ignoble death.
That's very, very well
If
put.
I am to be cheated, I must be cheated by class cheaters who cheated even themselves and got himself crucified. And Buddha gave up his kingdom. These are the real frauds who cheated even themselves. Sri Ramakrishna, he died a poor priest. This is real cheated. If I have to be cheated, I must be cheated by the class cheaters, not by the small
Mass
time
cheaters.
cheats.
Fair enough. How has Hinduism survived, right? I mean, it has survived invasions, conversions, colonialism, Marxism. Why does Hinduism even survive?
There is a very famous book called Feynman Lectures on Physics by Richard Feynman.
Yes, of course.
And he says that if human society can just pass on two information,
Yes.
that the world is composed of atoms,
Yes.
when at a distance they attract each other,
Yes.
and when they near they repel each other. From this, the whole science will come up. In Ishavasya Upanishad, first and second mantra say, Ishavashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjita. Give up everything for God. Second mantra says, Kurvanneveha karmani jijivishe chatam sama. But if you want to enjoy world, enjoy. But be detached. So Hinduism teaches of two paths. Give up everything for God. If you can't do that, enjoy, but be detached. Just keep these truths somehow alive. And every other religion will come up in future. Destroy all the religions. Destroy all the science. Keep two truths alive. In science, about atoms. In religion, about these two truths. That renounce everything for God. If you can't do it, be detached. Every other religion will
Is
come
that
up.
how Hinduism has survived? Because it has been able to keep that alive?
Yes. These two fundamental facts.
And this is how it will survive in the future?
Yes. It will always survive.
Swamiji, thank you very much. Thanks very much for coming on my show.